My name is James, and I want to tell you my story. I live in a quiet neighborhood just outside Boston in a place called East Ridge. It's small, peaceful, filled with trees and old bricks houses, and it has this comforting kind of silence that wraps around you after the sun goes down. I'm 32 years old and I work as a history teacher at a local high school. Life has always been still. Some would say predictable, but I liked it that way. It made sense. I had a small apartment, a dog named Benson, and a few friends I'd meet for coffee every now and then. I read a lot. I cooked my own meals. I had no rush, no noise, no surprises. And after a rough breakup 2 years ago, I told myself that love was not for me, not anymore. I don't want to go through that kind of pain again. So I made peace with being alone. But life has a strange way of shifting your path when you are not even looking. And for me, that shift came in the form of a woman named Elena. I met her on a rainy Monday in late September. The school had hired her as a substitute art teacher for the fall semester. I first saw her in the staff lounge. She was standing by the window with a cup of tea, quietly watching the rain. She had this peaceful way about her, calm but alert, like she was always listening. She looked over at me and smiled, not just politely, warmly, like she saw something familiar in me. Hi, she said. I'm Elena. James, I replied. History. Art, she said, holding up her tea. Temporary art. We both laughed. It was a small moment, but something inside me shifted. I did not think much of it at the time, but later that day, when we passed in the hallway, she smiled again and realized I had been waiting for it. The next week, we started having lunch together in the teacher's garden behind the building. We talked about our classes, the students, the school launches, then conservation slowly turned deeper. We talked about travel, books, the kind of music we listened to growing up. I told her about my dad's old record player and how I still use it. She told me she keeps a box of old sketchbooks under her bed. We both laughed about how we never felt like we fit in the world we were supposed to belong to. And just like that, something started. It was not dramatic, it was not loud, it was slow, quiet, steady. But it was real. I found myself waiting for our lunch breaks. I found myself replying our conversation in my head when I got home. I had not done that in years. I had not wanted to. One afternoon, it was raining again. She and I sat under the canopy outside, sharing a thermos of hot tea she had brought. She looked at me and said, being with you feels like a pause, like the world is quieter when we talk. That sentence stayed with me. It echoed inside me. I think I started falling for her right then and there. We did not rush things. We kept it simple. We met for coffee after school. We shared a few long walks on chilly evenings. We watched an old French film at a local theater one weekend. It was all soft, easy. She made me feel like I don't need to be pretend. I could just be, and that was enough. But the world does not always allow soft things to grow. One evening, as we sat in my apartment listening to Nina Simone, Elena turned to me and said, I need to tell you something. I looked at her. My chest tightened. I am engaged, she said barely above a whisper. I have been with him for almost 5 years. I could not speak. She went on. We were supposed to get married last summer, but something did not feel right. So we postponed it and then I came here. I don't expect to meet you. I don't expect you. I stood up. My hands were cold. I walked over to the window and looked out. The rain had stopped. The streets looked washed and quiet. I understand if you don't want to see me again, she said behind me. Her voice cracked. I don't reply. I could not. She left not long after. I stood there in my apartment for what felt like hours, just listening to the ticking of the clock and the soft hum of the fridge. The next few days were a blur. I went to work. I taught my classes, but I was not there, not fully. I checked my phone constantly. I waited for a message and then one came. I'm sorry, but I miss you. I did not answer. A week passed, and then another. I told myself to move on. I told myself she was taken, that I had no place in her life, but still my heart refused to let go. I missed her. The way she spoke, the way she looked at me when I was talking, the way the world seemed quieter when she was near. Then one evening, just after sunset, I saw her again. I had taken Bunsen for a walk in the park, and there she was, sitting on a bench alone, staring at the lake. She saw me. She stood up. We talked. I told her I felt betrayed, that I don't like being part of something secret. She said she understood. She don't offer excuses. She just said, I care about you. And I believed her. So I stayed. I know some people would say I made a mistake, that I should have walked away. But I could not. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that this was temporary, that one day she had leave him, that one day she would choose me. So we continued quietly, carefully. She came over once or twice a week. We kept it hidden. No public places, no photos, no labels. Just quiet moments in my apartment, cooking dinner, talking, listening to old music, falling asleep on the couch. It felt real, it felt intimate, but it also felt fragile. like it could vanish if looked too closely. I told myself it was love, that I had found something worth holding on to, but slowly things inside me began to shift. I stopped meeting my friends. I cancelled plans. I waited for her texts, her calls. I recognized I organized my week around her visits. I sat by the window when she was late. I stared at my phone for hours. I started to feel like a shadow in my own life. Sometimes I stood by the river in silence and asked myself, is this love or just loneliness dressed up as hope? I don't have the answer. Then one evening, after she had gone home, I stood in the kitchen looking at the plate she had left behind. There was no sign of her in my apartment, no sweater, no toothbrush, nothing, just emptiness, just silence. And I thought, is this all I am to her? I wanted to believe she loved me. Maybe she did, but she always went back to him, to the house they shared, the life they built. I was the detour, I whisper, a pause between her real chapters. I confided in my friend Leo. He was the only one who knew. He listened, then said, you deserve to be someone's first choice, James, not someone's escape, someone's hiding place. Love should not be a secret. His words hit me hard. I started noticing the little ways I had disappeared from my own life. I stopped playing music. I stopped writing. I don't walk Benson as far as I used to. My apartment, once warm and full of books and scent, had become still and quiet and small. One night, Elena came over. She smiled like always. She brought wine. She hugged me like nothing was wrong. But I was quiet. What's wrong? She asked. I don't think I can do this anymore, I said. She looked confused. Why now? Because I feel like I'm not living, I said. I'm just waiting, waiting for you to call, waiting for you to leave him, waiting to be chosen, and I can't do that anymore. She sat down, eyes wide. I love you, James. You know I do. Then why don't you choose me? She looked down. It's not that simple, she whispered. His family, he's my history. It's complicated. And what am I? I asked gently. A secret? She did not reply. That night, I watched her leave for the last time. I don't chase her. I don't text her. I don't call. Instead, I stood by the window and watched the city breathe. I let the silence settle, and I cried not because she hurt me, but because I had finally accepted the truth. I had become a stranger to myself. The next morning, I took Benson to the lake. She walked longer than usual. The sun was soft, the sky open. I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Stillness. I began doing small things for myself again. Coffee with Leo, music in the evenings, long walks with Benson, reading old books I never finished. I joined a photography class at the community center, something I had always wanted to try. No one knew I was going, it was just for me. One evening after class, I stopped at a bookstore. As I browsed the shelves, I saw a man flipping through an album of cityscapes. He looked up, smiled. You are in the photography class, right? Yeah, I said, just started. He reached out. I'm Thomas. We talked for a few minutes about cameras and cold weather. Nothing deep, but he made me smile, and that smile felt different, free. Over the next few weeks, we kept seeing each other at class. Sometimes we walked together after, talked, shared stories. He was patient. He did not ask about my past. He did not rush anything. One night, I told him I was in something before. It was not right. I was the second choice. He did not flinch. He just said, that must have hurt, but I'm glad you are here now. And that was enough. Time passed. We spent more time together, and for the first time in years, I started feeling like myself again. The real me, the one who laughs without fear, who sings while cooking, who takes pictures of leaves just because. Thomas did not try to fill the empty space. He just stood beside them. One day, as we watched the sunset over the park, I asked, do you believe in starting over? He looked at me and said, only if you are doing it for yourself. And I was. Looking back now, I don't regret loving Elena. She taught me something important. That love, if hidden in the dark, will slowly lose its warmth. That no matter how deep your feelings, you deserve to be chosen fully. I found myself through the pain, and in finding myself, I found peace. And in peace, I found the kind of love that walks beside me, not ahead or behind, but right here. And that's more than enough.